Hello and welcome back to the Canadian Disc Golf Productions video of the Golden Horseshoe Open. We are on the back 11, not the back 10.
I know.
Like we had originally said. One extra hole for you guys.
I led you astray. It's my fault.
I am Chris Brown.
And I am Galen Naidu-Harris. Welcome back.
Here we are.
Oh, and there's our Instagram handles. You can find me at FlickMasterFlex.
I am Chris_Brown74. Pretty simple. Ontario, yours to discover. Thank you, Ontario, for bringing us this beautiful property. PDGA for all they do.
Sanctioning
Indeed. And Forefathers Brewing Co. If you haven't been there, they have a 9-hole course. Fun to play. Great beer.
Yeah, nice pitch and putt. And they actually had a flex tournament the day after this. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, indeed.
Welcoming back our same four, Cam and Dylan. Still working on his introduction. And just a happy Chad.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Done with this.
Hole 11, par 3, 258 feet. Much like some of the holes we've already come across, you've got either a hyzer to the right or to the left, a forehand or a backhand, or a right hand or a left hand. Crash in whichever direction you like, but should be a pretty standard look for these guys unless they get tangled up on one of these branches or perhaps come up short onto that golf green on the left.
Oh, yes, the OB golf green.
Always fun.
Does that come into play for a lot of these?
We had a couple of close calls on my card, but I mean, for these players, we shouldn't see it being too much of a factor, just if something gets away from you.
Cam with a sort of overstable mid of some sort.
And crashes it in right underneath. Imagine inside the circle. And Chad taking a forehand. Not quite what I expected, because I was taking the forehand as a righty here, so to see him take that gap, I'm kind of intrigued.
I do think...
But he's got a good forehand.
Yeah,
so.
I think Chad leans on the forehand whenever it's available to him.
And just catches a tree, comes up just outside the circle, looks like. And yeah, here's the line I took. Dylan taking a forehand, taking a little higher than I did. But
definitely inside.
Oh yeah, and gets caught up early. And Johnny
coming off a pretty rough front 10, shooting +2 on a pretty easy course, I would say. So.
Yeah, and if you know John, not at all representative of his skill level. He's a great player, and I'm hoping we get to see a few highlights from him.
And there we go.
Parking hole 11 before the round is done.
Yeah, not exactly where you want to be on this hole. It looks like you definitely just don't know. His upshot gets away from him, too.
Yeah. Dylan's going to have to make a long putt if he wants to save it.
John's not parked. He went long.
Yeah. Eating too many Wheaties or something. Doesn't know his own strength. And yeah, gets caught up again on some branches near the basket.
Looked like he was coming straight for the cameraman.
Yeah. Maybe it's a good thing they were there. And just squeaking in the putt is Chad. Taking a 2.
Dylan still left himself quite the putt for his par.
A little obstructed there with that tree as well, I think.
It's tough to say, but it looks like he's pretty comfortable the way he's standing. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, looking at not much work, but still a little bit for that 4, unfortunately.
Jeff, just not a putting day for Dylan, especially. He's been on target, just missing high and low a lot.
Well, and honestly, just playing with these guys as often as you and I have, at least with John and Chad and Dylan, these are all good putters, and they're having a lot of trouble today with their putts, so it's uncharacteristic.
I like how Cam's trying to figure out how to get below the tensions for his turbo.
Trying to manufacture a turbo. You don't see that often. And John taps it in.
I wonder what makes you decide that you're all of a sudden going to be a turbo putter again. And I've had bad experiences before, but never have I been like, let's just be unconventional.
I think something must have gone wrong in your life somewhere for you to be. No, I'm just kidding, Cam. Hole 12, par 3, 206 feet. Pretty much looking right at it if memory serves. You might have some early trees to navigate around or some branches, maybe an awkward angle off the tee, but other than that, it's just a straight look at it. For me, it was a low forehand, just skipping off the ground and rolling in there. We'll see how these guys tackle this hole. I was wondering what that is in the bottom right. That's the drone.
I was looking at the same thing.
Yeah, so nothing too technical here, just a straight shot. Probably something that finishes right is what you want.
A lot of the same sort of style in this course. A lot of short,
Absolutely.
a lot of low hanging trees. You really have to play the ground, play the placement perfectly.
Yeah, no, the lines aren't ridiculously technical, but you got to land in the right spot, and if you don't, you're gonna find yourself working hard for your threes. Chad with a big wide lefty hyzer skips into it really nice, and two good looking drives to start.
Behind that tree, hopefully he's not too obstructed, especially as the lefty didn't look like he had the good angle.
Fingers crossed. And J-Mac inside and high catches a great tree though. I'm not sure if that kept him just in the fairway or almost up there for a putt. We'll see.
Surprised to see John leaning on his forehand so much these rounds.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised too. He's got a good forehand, but he's got a great backhand.
Yeah.
And and that just gets away from Dylan a little bit. But he may still have looked at it from there. 206 feet. It's almost tough not to have a putt.
Mm-hmm. A little jump putt from the straddle for Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
This would be a big two if he could make it.
And
no.
not quite. he's not happy with that. Oh no, Dylan.
I think he told me about this. I asked him how his round went. He said, "I want to forget hole 12." So
now we know.
Yeah, let's hope it gets better from
John
here.
Almost puts in a long putt there, but Dylan outside the circle still looking at another stepper jump here. Oh, and again, these branches are wreaking havoc on these gentlemen's rounds.
Sorry to laugh, Dylan. It's just, that's unfortunate.
That's not fun, buddy.
Mm-hmm. At least you're there for your tap and bogey.
Oh, yeah. Chad connects for his two.
That's a great two.
Yeah, and I mean, as we've been talking about, slower starts, but Cam and Chad are getting some nice rounds together here. Either 4 and 5 or 5 and 6 after this hole, depending on if that graphic is updated already or not. Not, MPO scores like you're used to, Chris, but for us AM1 guys, not bad at all through 12.
Hey, man, I've been there. I was AM1 for a while. I know the battle.
Struggle is real sometimes. Moving to hole 13, looks pretty simple when you look at it from here, but just to the left of that basket there is a very large pond that seems to have a magnet that just attracts discs into it. 263 feet, pretty straight at it. Again, pretty much a stock backhand with a mid or a putter for these guys, but you want to choose something that's not going to skip very hard or take a line that's going to spike a little bit harder, because I had like a very straight flying putter just get away from me and wind up in the drink on the left. So we'll see how these guys can.
That basket was no more than 5 feet from that water.
Yeah, seriously, it's very close.
Makes it. The problem becomes if you leave it too far right, now you got a long
putt
putt
at it. Yeah.
straight at the water. So what do? You try to play for the park job and take your tap in 3, or do you leave it out too far right and try to make your putt for your 2?
Yeah, or you play it like me and put your first one in the drink and then putt from the edge for 3 and sit. Maybe.
That
I think that's in, but like in the water, I mean.
Oh, you think it's in the water?
He gave you the
but
safe
it
sign.
might be in pounds. We'll see. This is what we're talking about though with these placement shots. Like the 263 feet straight ahead of you, but you got to avoid that pond. You got to put it in the right spot to avoid
That's going in
a
the
death
water
putt,
for
and
sure.
John
Right?
sends it right to the center of that pond. Unfortunately.
I think.
Okay, Dylan, come on. We're all counting on you, buddy. I think that one's going in as well.
Unless it goes in the basket.
Maybe.
Oh, straight in the water.
Flash the chains right into the
Wow.
water. Yeah.
Is he in bounds?
I guess. I don't know. Oh my God! Did he go long with the pond?
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
he must have gone long with the pond. That's the only thing that could have saved him.
This is what we're talking about, where you're leaving yourself that putt. If you miss it, you're going in the water. Hopefully, you stay dry.
Yeah, Chad's got some alright placement here. Especially as a lefty. Eyes are putting away from the water. He sits. I don't think anybody's mad at a 3 here.
Yeah, I think he'll be tapping.
Come on, Dylan, you can make this. Oh, great.
Stressful for you?
Yeah.
So on this hole, I believe, is where...
Oh no, Cam.
Sorry to talk over your putt there, Cam.
Well, this is why you got to go to the turbo inside of 12 feet, apparently. Sorry, Chris, you were saying?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, God.
Putting all day today has just been maybe
rough
it's
for
the
these
camera
guys.
that's doing it.
Yeah, I don't know how many rounds these guys have had filmed.
Yeah.
I've only had like 1 or 2, but you can feel some jitters you wouldn't normally feel when you
Yeah.
got that camera behind you as you're putting, for sure.
So on this
I don't even know what was Chad pretending.
I don't know what that was.
Well, I'm guessing the card counted it. I don't know what happened. We'll call it a made putt.
So
moving to hole
he already
14.
made his putt. So
Oh, okay.
hey, I just want to bring up that Wee was in the water there retrieving discs. Wee fam.
Yeah. Shout out to Wee. He was there all day marking with flags, and folks were going in, waiting for discs. Yeah, it was some of these tournaments. All of these tournaments really rely on volunteers, and Wee especially this day was a big help. And hole 14, we've got another 228-foot par 3. You've got a lot of stuff to contend with here, though. So there's a golf green that's out of bounds on the left of the basket. You've got bunker to the left and right, and a tree there as well as flagged off OB on the right. So a lot of players were playing for going a little bit long here and just coming to rest behind that tree and behind the basket, as it looks like Chad might be. Some players were also keeps it in play. Some players also trying to crash into that tree because the tree was a few feet past the green and past the bunker. So if you crashed it, you would hope you'd be safe, but not always.
But this part of the course seems very technical. Like this shot here is perfect distance control.
Yeah. And Dylan brings it into play, which really is all you want here.
I think he was hoping for that tree hit to knock him down, but either way, inbounds putting.
Inbounds and putting, you can't complain with a placement shot as technical as this. Cam just a little more hyzered out of the hand, but he skips off the green and comes to rest inbounds, so can't complain.
Everybody within 5 feet of being on that green.
Yeah, seriously. John takes it high and wide. We'll see where it comes to rest. Yeah, that's fine placement. Circle's edge. Going to be tough to make a putt again with some hanging branches near the basket, but you've got some looks at it here, so we'll see if any of our players on the card state can connect. Those branches aren't as important. Either way, not an easy putt from where these guys are at. Yeah, and Cam choosing just to lay it up.
Must be pretty windy right now because.
See those branches whipping around pretty good.
You saw John's putt just take that hard right turn and then Cam laying up probably a 40-footer.
Chad gives it a bid and just comes up a little wide.
Dylan's not jumping, so he's got to be inside, maybe at just at 30 feet or so. There you go. Good focus, Dylan.
Got this, buddy. Put it in there. And he does it. Catches for the birdie.
It's about time. Dylan's been having rough going putting.
Yeah.
There's Wee in the background.
Oh yeah, he's got those hip waders on.
Dripping off.
Yeah. No, a few of our players today seem a little snake bit on the putting green, so nice to see Dylan connect and nice to see some putts start to go in for these guys.
I think that's how things get rolling, and if if someone on your card start making them, then all of a sudden you start making them, and then right now we're just
energy.
Yeah, we're just stuck in a bad place right now that we're hoping to get out of.
Stuck in a bit of a rut, but again, like we were saying in the last 10 holes, these guys can break out of that pretty easily. It's just a matter of whether or not they're able to.
This hole looks interesting.
Yeah, so this is a 330-foot par 3. You've got, difficult to see from the footage here, but some flagged off old bunkers there on the right, so where you see that sort of foliage there on the ground, that's all out of bounds. I don't believe there was an out of bounds green in play here, but there are 2 of those little bunkers on the right-hand side. So you could choose your gap. You could go wide left, or that tree that the drone just ducked under. You could go to the right of that and split the gap between 2 trees and try and come into that for a putt. Yeah, right between those 2 trees there.
Right.
So I imagine you'll see some flip-up backhands with some stable finish, or some forehands from our right-hand players.
No thought to go around that big tree?
I think it's probably a little bit longer than it looks here. I mean, 330 to the pin.
On a pure spike hyzer,
on a pure spike hyzer,
pretty
that's a
far.
lot to ask for some of these M1 guys. For me, certainly, there's no way. Oh, gets out of Dylan's hand. And skips right into that bunker. That's unfortunate.
It looks like he was trying to maybe swing it around and let it go low, or he really pulled it right.
And finally, we're seeing Chad with a backhand hyzer here, taking it up the left side.
That's a lot of power.
It's a lot of power, and I like the placement too. This is coming nicely, I think.
That wind must be coming right to left on his tail.
It's really whipping.
It just fell out of the air as soon as it started hyzering.
Sure did, yeah. And Cam plays a flip up, a pure hyzer, and gets around everything and should have a nice look at it from there. I think John's got that animus in hand again, maybe.
Yeah, they're all going outside. Oh.
Yeah. That really got away from him. Looks like there's a bit of a headwind whipping up there, so maybe that wasn't
in the bush.
Much.
Tough to say because that should have lifted. I don't know. It's tough to say what's
I like
happening.
it because
maybe they're just overcompensating for the wind without any trees in the immediate vicinity.
Nothing to stop it. John, puts an upshot up there to just a few feet away. Chad laying up as well, and let's see where Cam's drive wound up. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Very nice placement from 330 feet with lost to contend with.
And I'm thinking he missed that one.
That's my guess. Yeah, I see 4 discs on the ground, so I think it must have just tickled the left side and come to rest there.
Oh, is that long grass long OB or no?
No, it's not. We were trying to figure that out before our first card. Oh, John. Oh, it's really not his round. No.
Head down, but he's always laughing.
No, John's a great guy to play with because even when he's having a round like this, he's always smiling.
Yeah. Always makes fun of himself.
Yeah, absolutely. There comes that turbo putt again for Cam to save par.
2 2s on this hole on the day. We got Joshua McMullen again, and then Mr. Galen Knight O'Harris with the second 2.
Yes, sir. I think that was that forehand line I was telling you about. Took thought space synapse nice and wide, let it flip up and fade out, and didn't miss the putt. Apparently. See, there you go. John's still smiling even after frustrating
4
run
over
holes.
Through 15 holes is not where John wanted to be.
No, and playing with him as often as we do, not only is it not where he wants to be, it's very uncharacteristic to see him play in that way. So it's been nice to see a couple of highlights here and there that do show his true skill level, and a few for each player on the card. Hole 16 is, we were calling it a peninsula green, so outside of those signs, everything is OB. But there's no out of bounds short, so it doesn't play as an actual island. It's just if you push too far to the right or left once you get up close to the basket, you're in trouble. Other than that, 246 feet straight at it, and should be pretty attackable for these guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's nice.
Looks like the wind was pushing back against that. Maybe he was keeping that in mind as he threw that forehand. Cam looks like lining up a backhand spike hyzer, which was my go-to play on this hole that day.
Looks like you can just get some sort of overstable mid-range.
Yeah, for me it was even just a straight mid and let the hyzer do the work, but not worry too much about the skip at the end.
I like that it's slightly uphill too, so you can really drive it into the hill and know that it's just going to check up as soon as it hits the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks that are listening may be able to correct me if I'm wrong here, but if memory serves, that was looking good, eh? I don't think this normally plays as a peninsula green. I think it's normally just a shot straight at it. That certainly was the one time I played it, but the course wasn't quite complete, so you can't be too certain about that.
You think they did this just for the tournament?
Oh, John, let's get some fade on the end there.
Oh,
not
he
quite.
Threw that
there's
far.
the red disc from Simon. That's out of bounds, unfortunately.
This is the drop zone?
Proceeds to the drop zone, yeah.
How far is the drop zone?
I'm terrible at distance judging, which is unfortunate as a disc golfer. But it's a jump putt at minimum. As you saw, John was sort of taking just like a standstill.
Half throw there?
Exactly, yeah.
Probably sitting around 90 feet or so.
That's as good a guess as any.
Dylan caught this tree on his way in. Dylan caught this tree on his way and really got held up quickly.
And just
still
about
gives
puts
it.
the putt in anyway. Yeah, I would have liked to seen what that could have done if he'd fought past that tree.
Gave it a good run. Unlucky on the tree hit. He's got the one you got to avoid.
And Chad just doesn't quite give it enough there. Pops it up a little high. Cam coming up a little short.
That was probably the longest turbo I've seen him do all day.
Yeah.
Would have been nice to see him put that one in.
There it is. There's the short one anyway. Again, these putting woes continue for our card.
Mm-hmm. We're hoping to see that big putt from Dylan. And the whole...
Toasting their discs on the way in.
You see these guys are friends. Everybody here having a good time.
Yeah, nice to see a card sort of lean into it when things aren't necessarily going their way, because I've played on cards in tournaments where people just get down, out, and miserable, and it's nice to see a group of guys that aren't having every break go their way still have a great time.
That was our second hardest hole of the day, by the way, playing just a tenth of a stroke over par.
Yeah, we had a lot of holes playing at or under par on the day, so it's kind of funny that the second hardest hole on the day is just 0.1 over, but there we are. And moving on to hole 17, par 3, 228 feet. Another one of those hanging baskets. I believe this is the third of the three. And not much to contend with here. You're just looking to get something up close enough that you don't have to worry about any branches and a long putt. And Chad does exactly that and puts it under the basket. Cam maybe a little too much hyzer on that, but comes out okay. He's got a putt from inside the circle. Can't complain about that at all.
See the leaves blowing across the green there. The wind has to be going.
Yeah, it did whip up a little bit at times. Absolutely.
It's good. Without the wind on this course, I think the course would have been a little bit too mundane.
Well, you and me being Brawny Creek locals, it's like playing at home.
Yeah, with the wind.
Yeah.
You'd think
that it's a very blustery course that we call home.
Yeah, I think the three of imagining Guelph as well has lots of wind. Is he from Guelph? I don't even know. I don't know what I'm thinking. Guelph.
Question. He's from somewhere that makes good disc golfers because he's playing well.
Yes, he is.
I think he's from Guelph. Yeah, we were talking about the Guelph City Championships in our afternoon round together. So
okay.
Who knows? Maybe Cam can leave us a comment and let us know how wrong we are. But I'd believe Guelph. And Dylan lining up a putt. Looks like just inside the circle, if I'm guessing. And tough window to hit there. He's got to keep it low enough to stay under those branches, but give it enough torque to get to the basket without overshooting it. Unfortunately, still a little low. And John misses the putt as well, unfortunately. Makes his comebacker. And we're still waiting all this time to get up to Chad's putt. Oh yeah, walk back to the bag. Take your time.
Yeah, if you're the last one to putt, you can take your you can take your time.
And I guess, this would be a longest putt. I was going to say, I don't know how he wouldn't be taking the CTP from literal inches from the pole, but yeah, this was a longest putt.
Okay, yeah, with the elevated
baskets. Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to hole 18, and this typically plays as an 18-hole course, so there were 3 holes added today to bring the total to 21, but this would be your traditional end of the course. Just a golf green here to contend with, otherwise pretty standard hole. There is a Mando to the right of that tree on the left of your screen, but it doesn't really come into play with how most players would draw this hole up. Your average lefty might have their line cut off, but as we know, Chad's got a great forehand, so just about every player here is taking their disc straight at it, hyzering out at the end, and trying to get over that golf green.
That golf green looks like it's perfectly placed just to catch you if you don't commit to the line.
Yeah, if you don't commit, it can certainly suck a few discs up. We had that happen to us. Chad goes really high, but he's got enough stability, I think, enough hyzer to get back over. Yeah,
that looked a little long.
I think that was actually a little short. It's kind of deceptive the way that hill lies, but that hill there is actually before the basket.
Okay.
And Cam
to know.
put something right under the basket. Might have skipped a little long into that grass there.
I think the point of that Mando is there's something over there that can...
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking in my head about what it could be, and it's because there's another tee pad nearby. It's just to keep discs out of people's hair.
Safety first.
Exactly. And Dylan, another standard play, wide hyzer, puts it right into the bullseye there.
That looks great. Another thing, I really expect them to play it lower and take the skip off the green or Don't try to air it all the way there, because especially in these windy conditions.
This is getting away from John.
I'm
Not
thinking
sure
that
if he
missed
made
the
that
Mando.
Mando. I'm thinking, yeah, it looks like he missed it.
Yeah, here's your drop zone for your Mando.
Yeah, at least you get a putt. No, it was a prescient comment from you there, Chris, that like I wonder why they're taking them so high and wide on the day when the wind is clearly starting to have an effect. Keep it a little lower and take that out of play.
Especially in the wind, always best to keep it on the ground.
Ooh, Chad just missing a bit of an awkward putt there.
1 inch more, and that was in the basket, guaranteed.
Seriously. And John makes 4.
That's a tough putt from in there.
That is a tough putt. It looks like Cam just skidded to the edge of that open area there. He's got some branches and some twigs in his way. Makes it look easy, though. Hurting the birdie.
Very spinny putt when he's not doing his turbo.
He's not turboing a bird.
It's very good to see, even if it's not his most confident, that he's still giving it a full go.
Absolutely.
Was it CTP?
Oh, yeah, looks like. Yeah, measuring it out.
With some acrobatics.
You should be able to catch everything pretty good.
Did you get the number? Oh, they're not even going to show us. I don't think he had it.
Must not have next time. And we got a tap in from Dylan. So without, we can't say without, but Johnny Mac's slight miss of the Mando notwithstanding, that was a pretty well played hole by our card. Hole 19, 180-foot par 3. You've got a golf green out of bounds there, short right. You've also got out of bounds left and behind the basket that's flagged off. So very typical for this course. Not necessarily the hardest shot if you look at where the disc will fly and where it'll land, but an important placement for your disc to make a birdie possible here. 180 feet, I'd imagine these guys are all throwing not just putters, but slow putters, birds, 2 speeds. We see something with a very thick rim. Right here. Ooh. Here's it a little long. I don't believe there's out of bounds on that right-hand side, though, so just a bit of an unfortunate lie, but he'll still be putting for his 2.
Yeah, at least it slowed him down a bit. The OB is just deep and left, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
To the left of that tree there.
Yeah, and just skidding across that golf green, but actually into a pretty good spot is Dylan. Left of the basket, and I think perhaps a little long on the left-hand side, but that right-hand side is all fine. And Chad, as a lefty, if he's throwing a backhand, has got nothing to worry about.
I think this is the play. Throw a disc at that tree on the left with the forehand or a lefty backhand, and just let it play away from the green. Never worrying about OB, never worrying about skipping over the hill. Just play it in nicely.
Yeah, that's the smart play for sure. Johns, taking a bit of an ace run at it. Looks like it came up just a little under the basket there. It's tough to see.
That's nice.
And Chad's got a couple of branches to contend with, but a good look at the elevated basket.
Another evident thing that we're watching AM1. Everybody's running the basket on this one. You can land it 40 short and
nice
slide it up to the basket, and that was a nice putt from Chad.
Yeah.
Slightly uphill, probably around circle's edge, maybe just outside, doing great things.
Absolutely. And this is one of the ones I was going to say where you have to be a little nervous, at least at my skill level, about how you're going to run this putt too. Like I would take sort of like a floatier look at it and try and drop something in. Because the last thing I want to do as a player that's not super confident in his putting is take a run straight at it with a strong push or spin putt, and all of a sudden I have to putt back 20 or 30 feet if I airball. With this elevated basket, they can go right down that hill pretty quickly.
That's fair. That's a good point. It's a good point for sure. Even at my level, that's something you have to think about.
Nice putt there from Dylan. Nice tap in from Cam and from John. And on we go to what I think is the most beautiful hole on the course. Hole 20, which I guess we haven't cut to quite yet, but we're about to. In a second, if I keep talking, we'll eventually get there. There we go. You're throwing from under a wedding arch down the aisle, because they also do weddings on the property here at Buncrana, through a somewhat tight gap, and you've got a green there that flares out right at the end. Not sure how evident it'll be to viewers at home, but those little trees there were really, really jamming people up. there's got to be at least a half a dozen, all within a dozen feet of the basket. So ace runs are almost out of the realm of possibilities. And even if you put something 15 feet away for a putt, you can see you could easily have to straddle out or try and find your way between a few branches. So it looks like a relatively straightforward hole, but with that tight gap and with those trees on the green, it actually played pretty difficult.
This is a very pretty hole.
So now you're seeing that wedding arch there. So that's where the couples will be getting married. They're teeing off from, and the disc is making its way backwards down the aisle as they throw it. Nice looking release from Dylan.
I mean, you can't do it much
my
better.
Goodness. Just airs it a little long.
How unfortunate.
What a line.
How unfortunate to get all the way down there and not hit one of those trees.
Seriously. We're just talking about what trouble they were giving us, and then, of course, when you need one, you can't buy one. This happened a lot with the cards that I was playing on, is especially with our right-hand backhand players. Disc coming up a little short, little left. Chad lines up there as well. Oh, and an early release from Cam. Good first kick, bad second kick, and just off the fairway there.
You can definitely see now that some of these players are able to...
Oh, John!
That looked good.
Yeah, a little high, a little short, but a great run there.
Now that some of these players are able to put a full power throw into a lot of these, they're hitting their lines a lot easier, flipping the discs up like they think they'll go.
Absolutely. One thing that came into play as well on this hole, and I'm not sure if it was the case for this card, but certainly for my card, was there were some pretty big log jams heading into this. So, it's an interesting enough hole when you're playing it nice and warmed up and you're feeling like you're rolling after that short 180-foot hole. But I was sitting cold for 10, maybe even 15 minutes both my rounds, and attacking a gap like this with a green that's got trees on it after having not thrown a disc or putted in 10 to 15 minutes added an extra layer of difficulty for these guys too. And I'm guessing this card, because they were playing in front of me, probably was contending with that same weight.
Wow, it's strange to think a hole like this would bring up that big of a weight, but I guess if you get in the bush...
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking both times too, is that's kind of weird that we're waiting so long here, but that was the case. And yeah, again, perhaps just a little rust from not being in the groove of playing your round. Just off the top there for Cam. Nice putt there from John. I think that might have been John's putt for his 3, unfortunately. He was fighting back from those bushes there a second ago. A nice putt from Dylan. And turbo time. Nice putt from Cam.
Every single one of his turbos comes in just over the rim, too. It's always going down.
And yet, certainly in the afternoon and also here in the morning, he was putting a lot of them in. Hole 21, par 3, 260 feet. Another pretty standard righty backhand hyzer, or if you're Chad, a lefty flick or a turnover. There is a bunker here, you'll see just in front of you on the right. That's not in play in the actual golf course now, but used to be. That's also been flagged off as out of bounds. And somebody mentioned to me that Oz had suggested to them, like, this is an entirely blind basket placement off the tee. Just try and land something just barely past that bunker, let it skip in, and you ought to be in a really good spot. But you didn't want to go long on this. It's only 260. If you put something, 280 feet as the crow flies, or 300, you got really pinched off. This is really a hole where placement matters, and you want to come up short if you come up anywhere.
That looks quite inside, if I'm not going to say so myself.
It sure does, yeah. And a tough out from there as well if you come up short. So we'll see how John draws this hole up, but giving himself some work.
The big old 0 on the tee pad.
Yeah, that's one of our King's Forest tee pads, I believe, I was told.
Oh.
Dylan put something right where he'd want to. Yeah, Chris was joking that if anybody could tell him where that was, they'd get a free mulligan. Which hole it was from King's Forest. And nobody got it, but we'll see it this winter, I guess. Very nice hyzer flick from Chad. Perfect placement, it looks like, from here.
That's not fair, because half the time it was under snow.
Seriously, yeah. You probably only saw that tee pad a handful of times all winter.
Cam? Oh, that's...
I think that's good as well. It's a tight...
look good.
Yeah, tight placement, as you can see. So tough. Oh, and John makes pretty short work of that upshot. Very nice.
Trying to put it in, get smacked down.
Yeah. Ooh, and who is this?
This is Dylan.
Yeah.
This is Dylan, tucking his way in the bush.
Yeah, coming up a little short, leaving himself some work.
Wonder what he's thinking right here. How close do you think he can get to the basket?
Oh, want to know what he's thinking here. Probably a couple expletives.
Oh,
Puts it
okay.
right
He
under the
almost tried.
pin,
Almost
though.
tried to put it in.
Yeah, jeez.
That's impressive. Very athletic.
Gonna have to shout out one of our fellow Bronte club members, Alejandro Diaz-Yana, who went to a playoff in MA2 in the afternoon. And for, I believe, a 14, maybe 15-year-old, the kid's got ice in his veins. He had to shoot first. This is the first hole of the playoff, and put it right where Chad did, and made his putt for perhaps not an easy, but a well-deserved win of the MA2 division.
Good job, Robbie, there as well for forcing Alejandro into the playoff.
Oh yeah, great rounds for both of those guys.
Nice putt, Cam.
Robbie and I played together in the Ontario Provincial Disc Golf Championships. I forget which day, but great guy. A lot of fun to have on your card as well. So we were all wishing both of them the best heading into the playoff, and Alejandro just eked out the win. Now Dylan putting for his 3.
Finish off his turn or his first round.
And puts it in. And John also looking to scramble a 3, and good recovery from both of those guys on that hole.
2 2s and 2 3s on that hole.
Not bad. Again, it's not a particularly challenging hole when you look at where the basket is and where the tee box is, but there's enough stuff that can pinch you off that making a 2 feels real good.
And here we have our final scores. John coming in with a +4, definitely not what he wanted, not doing that great, unfortunately. Dylan -3, a lot of putting problems.
Yeah.
I think Chad and Cam both 7 and 8 down.
Yeah, and I think a 7 down was about a 940 rated, 9:45 or so in the morning.
Okay.
I know that Chad got himself onto lead card round 2 with that round, and Chad was joining me on chase card with a 7 down.
Cam was saying
respectable. Oh, and there's a familiar name there at 7th. Yeah, so
Oh,
you can
yeah.
see, you look at the top 10, you're looking at 9 down, 4 down, at
Yeah.
the top and bottom.
And our-
So it wasn't playing as easy as perhaps we think it ought to have.
Yeah, 9 down still really good. That's almost
Absolutely.
half the holes. So our lead card for tomorrow, we will find out. Or
Lead
this
card for the afternoon.
I keep doing
yeah,
that.
yeah, we'll see you in a minute.
Yeah, we'll find out for next time. I'm sure you saw.
There's the back 11 of our first 21 holes. I'm Galen Naidu-Harris,
And I am Chris Brown.
and this is the Canadian Disc Golf Productions coverage of the Golden Horseshoe Open.